Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy, and do you want to make your BMW M2 sound more aggressive? I'll show you how with AWE. All right, guys, so let's walk through this project and the reasons why you probably want to do this yourself. Now, I am really excited to bring to you the premiere of the brand new AWE catback system for the G87 M2. This is a brand new release, brand new to the market, and I love the AWE product, so I'm really excited to do this project today. Now, I'm going to walk you through this whole process, everything you need to get this installed and make a big difference in your car. Now, before you do this, you have to get your car in the air, so please do that safely. You can do this with jacks and jack stands, be on a good surface. Make sure you use jack stands. Don't bet your life on a cheap part in your jack, okay? I love my Quickjacks. Make sure to check those out. They're really a tool that's worth it to me and makes this much easier and much safer. But I'm going to walk you through this whole process. We're going to get it underneath the car, and then we're going to start by cutting the OEM pipes. All right, let's get going. All right, guys, so here we are underneath the car. So this is going to be the driver's side on this side, passenger side on this side. Now you can tell the differences, among other things. Driver's side has the hanger. Passenger side has this fixed hanger. So we're going to be making several cuts, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. So you're going to be measuring 60 millimeters from this bracket. So mark all the way up, make a clean line. I've already made one tentative line, and I'll mark it better here in a moment. And then on this side, you're measuring back. So this is the back of the car. You're measuring back from this bracket 108 millimeters, okay? So mark those really, really well. And then the other thing you're gonna wanna do is use a hose clamp to put on the pipe to get a nice clean circle all the way around. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second, but we wanted to get this started and show you what this looks like. So measure both sides, use your hose clamp, and then we're gonna make the cuts. But I'll show you what that looks like all drawn in. All right, guys, so really quickly, this is just what I'm talking about. You just tighten down a hose clamp on the pipe itself, then you can use that to get a nice clean line all the way around. So when you do cut this, you will get a nice straight cut without any angles. Now, a couple of things before we cut this. I'm a big fan of the Sawzall or a Hackzall. I do like Hackzalls because they're smaller framed. Sawzalls will work. You can always use a manual pipe cutter, but I don't know why you wouldn't use power. Now, in addition, because of the way when you have to cut these, you essentially have to have your face underneath this pipe, checking both sides, making sure that you got a good clean cut. So at least use eye protection, and I highly recommend like a $2 plastic face shield. You will thank yourself. You will get hot metal coming off the pipe as you cut this, so do not get hot metal in your eyes or your face or whatever. It's really a hassle, all right? So go ahead and cut both sides. I'll show you what this looks like when it's done. All right, guys, so as you can see, we've got good clean cuts on both sides. So now we're going to be taking the OEM exhaust line down. Now, of course, this is because we're getting the mid pipes as well. If we didn't get the mid pipes, we'd be cutting in a different place, but this is mid pipes plus the back. So you've got a hanger here. These are all 13 millimeters. You've got a hanger here that's holding up this side. And as we come down, you have your crossbody brace right here. Don't do the inset 13 millimeters. You only want to do the outset 1, 2, 3. So I usually will take the cross base off, and there's 3 on the other side as well. So take that off and work your way down the line. Now you can do this potentially by yourself, but it also helps to have someone along with you. So what I normally do is I'll take the cross brace off, and then I'll come down and I'll get these mid hangers here. Make sure to unplug your exhaust valves right here. It's a little depression tab. That's gonna be hard for me to do with gloves on, but a little depression tab, and just pull it off just like that. Make sure to do that on both sides. And then there's hangers back here as well. So what I will normally do with my 13 millimeter socket is I'll take the cross brace off, then I'll work my way down. I'll take off the hangers on both sides here, and then you can take both hangers off at the tail. If you have an extra set of hands, have them hold on to the exhaust at that point, or use a jack stand or something similar to hold it up. And then you can come back up the line, because the only thing that'll be holding it in at this point is this hanger here, because we cut on this side of this hanger. So that way you can walk the whole thing down and then walk it out from underneath the car. Okay, so go ahead and take all of those off, take the hangers off with the 13 millimeter, and then take your exhaust line out, and we'll set it aside, and we're gonna talk about transferring these hangers. All right, y'all, so now that we have the exhaust line out, what I like to do is I like to lay out all of the pipes along with it so you know where everything goes. So here's our new mid pipe. So I laid that out next to the existing OEM, and this is where we're gonna transfer our hangers. It also helps you not only keep the same hangers on the same side, but it also makes sure that you get them in the correct orientation. So we're gonna work that hanger off in a second. We see the X pipe here in the center laid down with the two additional pipes here, also already pre-attached. Right here, I just slid the X pipe in. And again, you can see where the hangers are going to go and in the correct orientation. So go ahead and work these hangers off and transfer them. And once those are off, we're going to hang the mid pipes and the X pipe back into the car. Now, with the hangers themselves, these can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. I find, honestly, just doing them by hand is the easiest way. There is a tool that you can spread, put in there and spread. I find it doesn't make that much difference. So I just take it and I just grab this and I just work it off this post, transfer it onto the other post in the exact same orientation. Okay, so go ahead and transfer this top hanger and the two mid ones, and then we're gonna go back underneath the car and hang these pipes. All right, so just a quick review. As you can see, the entire exhaust line is out all the way down. That's great. So now, remember how we laid out all of the pipes before. So what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna grab the driver's side mid pipe that's gonna go on this side. Now, we are gonna get one of the 3-inch clamps. Make sure to slide on one of the 3-inch clamps on this side, and then you can slide the mid pipe on, because that expansion will go around the pipe, and then you can put that 13mm bolt back in to hold the side up. Now, passenger side doesn't have a hanger to hang it on, so we're going to hang the middle X section as well to help hold the passenger side on. But get two 3-inch clamps, one here, one there. Go ahead and put the driver's side on, and then we're going to walk through the rest. All right, so it's all 3/4 together now, but I want to walk you through it because it makes sense as you just kind of jigsaw puzzle it all together. So you've taken the 13mm bolt here on the driver's side and you put this up. That will hang the driver's side mid pipe on just fine. Now the passenger side doesn't want to hang on quite as nicely because you don't have a hanger like that. The hanger's up above your cut, but it will partially hang on. So as it's sagging right now, I've got it partially in place. Now, what you can do from then is then take both of the end pieces here and here and hang these up, because you've got your hangers here on both sides. So I hung both of these up on both sides like this. And then you can use that to anchor the X pipe here in the center. Now, all of your clamps need to be on first. So at the top, I've got the two 3-inch clamps. I've got my ball clamps here, which we'll talk about here in a second, because we have to make sure that those are in the proper orientation or they will hit your cross brace. And then I've got two more 3-inch hangers here and here all set in. Now, when you do all of this, you do not want to have this all tightened down. You want to have them just a little bit snug to keep the pieces together, because when we put the end on, that's where we'll want to work with all of our fitment. We still need to transfer the hangers from the OEM back box to the end. We'll do that here in just a second. But once you have all of these pieces in place, go ahead and just tighten them up a little bit to hold it on. Now, these are you use both a 13mm and 16mm. These are 16mm nuts here on all of these clamps. So just tighten them down enough that the pipes will stop moving, right? Because they're all really loose right now. And that includes the ball clamps. All right, so for the ball clamp connection right here, you need to make sure that the bolt here and the connection is up and out of the way. So this is tipped up towards the top, so I came at it from an angle to tighten it down. And this is just snug right now. Same thing on this side. You cannot have them on the bottom. If they're on the bottom, they're gonna hit your cross brace, okay? Which we definitely don't wanna have happen. So we're gonna be working on all of these clearances once we get the ends on. So just make sure these are snug, but do have these in the proper position before you get started. Because we will work on fitment, and they need to be loose enough you can move them a little bit, but not so tight as to have everything locked into place, okay? So get your clamps tightened down, and then we're gonna get back out from underneath the car. We're gonna transfer the hangers off the back box to the end pieces. All right, guys, so now that the mid pipe and all the different hangers are done, now we start working with the catback, and there's a lot of this that we can get set into place before we go anywhere else. So what you'll want to have done is pull your motor off. These are your valve flap motors. You want to pull them off your OEM exhaust line that you took out of the car. Now, do not switch sides with these. These are really, really important. And the other thing that you want to do is make sure, go to your stock exhaust and check your valve flap position. So if they're open, when you took it off the car, if they're open, make sure that they're open here or closed or so on, right? Because if you put them in the wrong place, the motor will turn the wrong direction when you fire the car up and you'll burn these motors out. And they cost about 150 bucks a piece plus a service appointment at the dealership to initialize the new motors. Don't do that, right? So in my case, the valve flaps are open. So I've gone and I've looked in through the pipe right here and I've turned the valve flap to an open position. Now, when this comes, this has a new clip that's going to go into the motor and on the connection right here, which I'll show you a little bit closer here in a second. You'll also want to slip one of your 3-inch clamps here because this pipe is separate. You want to slip this on both sides. Okay, so take the motors off. Take these nuts off. There's new nuts and posts for your motors, and we're going to put this clip in place. Let me get that set, and I'll show you what that looks like a little bit closer up. All right, so the little spring clip that comes, that was, under one of the nuts here, you want to take it, the wavy side goes down, and you just put it into the grooved section there on the valve flap controller right there. And then you'll just simply take your motor. Your motor's going to go up and over this, the top arm right here. So you're just going to fit it down over these posts. Now it's kind of hard to show on camera, but if you peek in between right there, you can see that the slot in the motor gearing has slot down over that metal clip, right? Check on both sides, make sure that it's seated down well on both, and you're good to go. Go ahead and put the 10mm nuts back on, and then we do this on both sides. And then we're going to tighten down these clamps just a little bit to help hold it all in place. And if you've transferred your hangers already, which we've done here, now you also will have these little disc holders. I put these on loose. These are to help you with fitment and alignment once we get it all up in the car. But I usually put them on right at the end, kind of loosely, to keep the hanger on. So get all this put back together, tighten down these clamps a little bit to help hold the box together. Then we're going to hang it back underneath the car. All right, guys, so when we hang this back into place, I find it easier. It's good to have an extra set of hands. You slide it onto your AB pipes here, those pipes that come down from the mids. So connect them there loosely with a clamp on either end, and then you come up and you put your hangers back on with those 13mm, and then it's pretty much good to go in place. Then it's just a matter of simple adjustment. The center box will pivot up and down with these clamps here, so I get my pipes level on both sides, and then I'll tighten down a center clamp, I'll tighten down a center clamp. Now, when I talked to you about those little disc washers, these little guys right here, this is where you can move the whole thing right and left on these hangers a little bit to get your pipes centered in your rear diffuser. In addition, when the centerpiece, since it'll pivot off of here, you want to make sure that these pipes are level as well. So you tighten these down enough to hold it in place. Once you make sure it's level, crank it down hard, both of those hard. Here you put those little discs on once it's centered right left, and that's good to go. And then you can tighten down the clamps here on either end, and then pretty much it's all in together. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to have an extension that you're going to put on the original cable. So your exhaust will come with extensions for your valve controllers. So you plug it into the original cable right here. You pull the heat shield down, you tuck the excess cable back behind, and then you can just take this up and then plug this into your valve controller right up here on top right there, which I did on this side. So make sure to plug the extensions in and put those in, and then you're pretty much good to go. Now, make sure to do a full walk up and down your entire exhaust line and check for clearance. We've talked about fitment quite a bit. Make sure to check your fitment, especially at the cross brace. So your upper hangers, they're not hitting anything. Your cross brace, you've got clear there. And if you have to, put some shims in to make sure that you've got space there when you tighten that down. Make sure that you're not hitting your subframe here. You're not hitting your differential as well. Because any place where you have a clamp, the pipes can pivot a little bit. Back here at the back, you're about visual fitment and making sure that the tips are level. Both of these tips are level, and then they're also centered in your diffuser right left. Once that's all done, do a full pass again on your entire exhaust line. Make sure that the entire exhaust line is tight, and I mean really tight on those clamps. My other trick that I always do is I come along and I hit the pipes with my hand, and as long as you hear just your hand against the pipes, you're fine. You don't hear any clicks, you don't hear any metal of them hitting metal, then you should be fine. They're not going to vibrate enough that when you start the car that you're going to get any vibration against metal. It's a drag. If you do, it's easily fixable. You just find where you've missed fitment, but then you just come back. But, it's better to do it right the first time, okay? So all of this is plugged in. Your motors are plugged in. Let's get your exhaust tips on, and you're almost done. All right, guys, so getting your exhaust tips on is really super simple, and you have a lot of choice here in how you put them on. I tend to mimic the same pattern as the OEM, where the outsides are set back a little bit and the centers are a little bit more pronounced. Obviously put the logos on the top, and we chose the black exhaust tips for this. So looks really, really good. So at this point, you can do a full pass on your entire exhaust line. Make sure all your connections are tight. Make sure that all your fitment is good. And if it is, you're pretty much all done. So at this point, you go ahead, put it back on the ground, test it, try it, you're all done. All right, y'all, so go ahead and clean and put your tools away, get your car on the ground after you're done testing, and I'm really excited to have this in this brand new G87 M2. Now, a lot of folks have complained about how really it sounds kind of tame. Well, this new AWE catback exhaust is definitely going to make a big difference while preserving, your exhaust valve flaps and everything else that you love from the setup of your car. Now, I've had a great time premiering this product. This is the very first release of this product that they have for the G87 M2, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, everything you need for this project will be listed in the video description below, including the links for the exhaust and all of the tools. I'm really grateful for AWE for making this great product. Now, I bet you're asking yourself, what's it sound like? Don't worry, I shot a video for that too, but what I wanted to have for you is have this set aside as the actual installation video, and I have a complete comparison video, so make sure to check that out. So OEM, the catback, and their new track edition if you want that extra spicy setup for your M2. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Please make sure to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next project.